Hey guys, Scott here from AlphaNerd Tech. How's it going? So today we're going to dive into a side-by-side look at two of my favorite printers here in the studio. We're going to be taking a look at the Elegoo Centauri Carbon, and we're going to be taking a look at the Flashforge AD5X. So far, these have been great. My go-to printers. This guy here, I just got set up. I haven't had a lot of time with him, so we don't know how he's doing yet. These two machines have been running hard for a while now. The Elegoo's got about 218 hours on it. The Flashforge is sitting right around 238 hours. So I figured it's perfect time to give you an honest progress update and see how they stack up after some real world use. The Centauri Carbon over here, this thing's been amazing. This has been my go-to printer for production prints, for functional prints, reliable, clean first layers, and some serious solid performance on PETG and on high-speed PLAs. The Flashforge, on the other hand, has been my fun printer. It's been all my experimental prints. I've done some cool clocks, some logo stuff up here, multicolor, some 3D logos that I'm experimenting with, and it's just been amazing over the time I've had it and what I've been running on it. So in this video, we'll be doing a few quality prints, checking first layer consistency, bridge performance, overhangs, and all the overall detail and stuff that you do with a 3D printer that you expect out of your 3D printer. Just to see how they compare. I mean, again, this is not a head-to-head who does better. This is just a let's compare and see how they do. Let me show you how they both do in one video. So whether you're trying to decide between these two or just want to know what you can expect out of long-term results out of these two printers, we've got a lot to cover here. Plenty of prints to show off. Let's dig into it. Alright guys, so let's just jump into a few specs here, and we're going to start over here on the Elegoo Centauri Carbon. And the printing platform on this thing is about 260 by 260, but they say it has a build size of 256 by 256 by 256 high, so a little bigger than the Flashforge, but we'll get into that in a second. It does do up to 500 millimeters a second, although they do recommend around 250 millimeters a second. It does have acceleration rate of 10,000 millimeters a second, 20,000 millimeters max, if you want to crank it that high. I never print anything that high. And because it is the fully enclosed design, it does say that they can do everything from the PLA, PETG, ABS, ASA, TPU, PETG, PET, PCPA. So yeah, it can do a wide variety of materials. The max nozzle temp on this one is 320 degrees. So yeah, it's definitely capable of doing those higher temps. And that's about all I'm going to get into on this thing. It does have a 4.3-inch touchscreen. It's got the cameras built in. Automatically comes with the camera from the factory. And this thing literally took about 20 minutes to set up. Another 20 minutes to run through all the calibrations and stuff. Currently, right now, as of recording this video on Saturday, October 25th, this thing is $279 right now on the Centauri website, or on the Elegoo website, so not a bad deal. So now let's jump over here to my fun printer. As you can see, I got some funky colors going here. I like my reds and orange. And this is a little bit smaller printer. Its build plate on this thing, build size on this is 220 by 220 by 220. And again, with the speeds, it's about the same as the Elegoo. This one will run up to 600 millimeters a second. Again, the same 10,000 and 20,000 for the accelerations. You really don't want to push them that fast. That's up to you guys, but recommended on this one is 300 millimeters a second instead of the 250 of the other one. And it can also do all of the same materials because of the ultra high temps that it's capable of getting. And that's the PLA, the PLA Pros, the HS, MATs, TPU, PETG, PE, TG, HS, PETG, and ASAs. So it does have the higher temp capabilities. Oh, I didn't mention this on the Elegoo, but both of them have a bed heating temperature of 110 degrees maximum. So yeah, there's a quick rundown of the specs of these guys. They both do, or the Flashforge did not come with the camera. It has one now. I installed it. But as you can see, I installed the camera and the lighting. Both of these do use a fork of Orca. I have used Orca Direct with both of them. So yeah, you can use Orca if you prefer. But other than that, let's jump into some of the print qualities. All right, guys, let's jump into the print quality tests that I ran. So we're going to start over here with the Elegoo, just because that's the way we've been formatting things. So anyway, as you can see, this is my PETG test. And you can see a bit of over extrusion here. This is Elegoo PETG, straight out of the box. No drying time, with the default Elegoo PETG settings. So I didn't change any settings, anything. This is just right out of the box using the default. You can see we got a little bit, started printed this way. It started printing out with a little bit of over extrusion. As you know, these things are adjustable and printable and fixable. So you can see what I did is I went 0.25 up, or down, sorry, on the Z height, and it finished out pretty good. So this is PETG. It can make a great first layer after some tweaking, but right out of the box, it was printing a little over extruded there. So I did just raise it slightly. And I'm actually saying that backwards because I'm used to my old enders, but I lowered the bed slightly. There we go. So that is the PETG over here on the Flashforge. The PETG, slightly different textured plate, but was extremely over extruded. And this is with the default settings for the PETG. It is all running the Elegoo Rapid PETG. Way over extruded. I didn't adjust this one. I actually left the studio, went downstairs, and let it finish before I noticed that it needed some adjustment. So anyway, yeah, you can see it came out of the box. This is over extruded. Good solid though. Take away a little bit, either take away a little of the extrusion rate or slightly lower the hot plate, and we'd have a perfect first layer here also. So there is our PETG tests. We'll go ahead and get those out of the way. Now the PLA was quite a bit different. I had a lot of issues over here on the Elegoo at first, and this is a silk PLA. I didn't do a silk over here just because, actually I did actually, never mind. I did do a silk over here. So this is the first layer test. First layer test with the Elegoo, I did have a lot of issues with all of the first layers, no matter what material I put in. This is a silk PLA made by Esun, and you can see the spaghetti here. It's just completely under extruded. It would not stick together for anything right out of the box. Now you do get that nice clean sheen on there, but still it's not what you need. You need it to stick together for a first layer. So that was out of the box using the, let me see exactly what setting, because I have my, all right, so I have my slicer set to the default Elegoo PLA silk setting here, and didn't change any of the Z height or anything, and this is kind of what I got out of that one. So you can see it's not favorable. Obviously, you need these to stick together. Same over here. I used the built-in Flashforge Silk PLA setting, and you can see it did pretty good for the most part. Over on this one side, I had a couple breaks, and that mainly happened when I was peeling it off the plate. It did stick together for the most part, but it could use maybe a slight bump in the flow rate, just to give it a nice little, make sure it's all tacky and stuck together. It was a little warm when I peeled it off. I was kind of in a hurry, so that could have been part of the problem there, but really good first layer actually, besides those couple little spots where I messed it up. So again, that's the silk. Even here you can see I can break it apart pretty easy, but that is the silk PLA. Test out of the way. Again, the Elegoo follows through with its, I don't know, I did a bed level between each one. Again, default PLA settings, and I didn't get that over here as much. Sorry, that's in the wrong order. I did get it slightly. Same exact, this is eSun, basic PLA. And I did get the same results a little bit on one side and not on the other. I may have to go in and do a manual adjustment on that bed slightly, but I'll show you in a minute when I add a little more flow and change the Z height, how it does come out, and it does come out pretty good. So again, Flashforge just killed it on the first layer test out of the box settings. Okay, these are just using the default settings that comes with the printer. What most people will probably do. Now over here on the Elegoo, I can show you that it can make an amazing first layer. So this is negative 0.025 on the Z height. This is negative 0.5, and you can see the difference here. So a little over extruded, you take it down a little more, and you get a really nice first layer. So it is capable of making a great first layer here. And I actually just wrote on it. You can see the print plate. Texture is amazing. And this is what it looks like with the full settings. Once I got it dialed in, I over extruded slightly at a 1.02. And then I raised that plate to the 0.025. And I got an amazing first layer out of this guy. And this is where he's set up now. But again, the default settings on this with this plate did not work too well. And then over here on the Flashforge, this is just taking the Z height up to 0.025. I did not change any of the flow rates or anything, and it can also make a great first layer. Nice glossy, little over extruded on the sides when I was experimenting. This is 0.5. Brought it down to 0.25. Makes great. So yeah, again, they both can make great first layers. This is the build plate on the Flashforge. This is the build plate on the Elegoo, and they are both a textured plate. I did not do a smooth plate test this round. If you would like more of those tests, or if you'd like to see any other tests run on these, leave a message down below and I will gladly throw together another video with some different tests. So let's jump into the stringing test. So these are just some little stringing test things I made up, nothing big. As you can see on the PLA does not have a problem with stringing. And there it goes. Slightly, but not too bad. On the Flashforge, we got a little bit of stringing here. I'm not sure how well that's picking up, but yeah, it's picking up pretty good. Yeah, so you can see a little bit of stringing here on the Flashforge, but this is just PLA. PLA is not really known for a lot of stringing. So again, I'll leave a file link to these down below if anybody wants to print these guys out. They're just a quick little, anyone can make one real easy. So sticking with the Flashforge since we're over here, Flashforge on PETG. The PETG definitely has a lot of stringing. For one, it's known for being a material that strings a lot. So you can definitely see the stringing here can be an issue on the Flashforge. Again, default settings. Over here on the Elegoo, it is there, but not quite as much. So it does have stringing, not as much around the bottom. Like if you look at the Flashforge over here, it has a lot more down below on the bottom, where the Elegoo seems to control a little better down there. But there you have it. So there's our stringing test out of the way. So now let's just jump over to the quality tests here. Yeah. So we will start out with the bridge tests. The bridge tests over here on the Elegoo actually turned out really well. I know that it is so hard to see in the camera, but even the longest bridge on here does not have any drooping. I know you can't really see it down there, but it's so hard. Anyway, there's no drooping, no hanging, no stringing, and the bridging did really well on both of the for all the sizes. All the sizes did the bridging amazing. The overhangs now not quite so much, as you can see on the overhangs. Both the overhangs did really good up to about 45 degrees. And then after 45 degrees, it starts getting the stringing here. Same here, about 50, get into the 60 degree, and then you get a lot of typical overhang issues. Now, if with supports and everything, that would have been fine. And then if we want to jump into some of our dimension tests, I got these guys here. Let's make sure we're in millimeter. So we're going to jump over here to this is the XYZ dimension test. That is the 10 millimeter, and it is 10 millimeters. This is the 20 millimeter, and it's a little hard to measure here, but that is 20 millimeters. So our dimension tests are really good, spot on this thing. 30 millimeters is, whoops, let's keep it on there, is right at 30 millimeters. So we're doing great, all angles. This is the 30 millimeter test, 20, and 10. So as far as our dimension tests, they did really good. If you want to do the internal hole tests, this is the, yeah, I think I spread that out a little bit. This is the 8 millimeter, and it's sitting right around 7.93, so it's pretty close. All the way down to a 4 millimeter, which is exactly 4 millimeters, is doing pretty good. And then our external tests here, that's a 10 millimeter with a 2 millimeter wall. We're off a little bit there. All of these are supposed to have a 2 millimeter wall. But anyway, the dimensions and everything do really well. That's supposed to be 6 millimeters, a little bit off. As far as the print quality goes, I mean, this was after dialing in the first layer, obviously, so you can see the first layer on this thing was perfect. Nice flow rate, nice edges. The wall layers are great, no issues here. The text on the front comes out really nice, all the way up. The flat test, not so much, and that I found that on both of them. Both of them didn't quite do so well on the flat test here, on the flat text. But now let's jump over to the Flashforge, and again, we'll do the same thing. Our bridging is perfect all the way through, and that is a, how wide is that bridge? Because that's big. That's like a 25 millimeter bridge inside there when you get on the inside dimension. So we're looking at a 25 millimeter bridge, and 25 millimeters, there's no stringing. Again, I wish you could see it as good as I can, but there is nothing in there on that bridge. That bridge looks amazing. I'm really, really impressed with the bridging test on this. All the way down, all the sizes. Again, the overhangs on this one did a little better. So this one is a super clean up to the 45, and then at 50 it starts getting a little worse, but not as bad as the Flashforge, as the Elegoo, the Elegoo did. Same here, 40, 50, we're up to about 60, and we start getting some stringing in there. And then same here, right around the 45 to 55, yeah, we start getting our stringing in there. So as far as the bridge tests go, again, it's just recommended to always use supports. And if we want to do our dimensions again, we'll start over here, same thing. Dimensions are spot on these things. A little hard to measure here, but we're looking at 20, 30. So yeah, our dimensions are spot on these things. No issues with the dimensions if you're looking to do some engineering stuff or functional prints. So again, really, really good. Maybe these were only 1.5. No, it's supposed to be 2 is what it said on the print, but yeah, anyway. So there's our print quality test. Again, the text is really good on this guy on the front side. Can read everything legible. As far as saying which one's better, I'd have to say the Flashforge did slightly better on the overhangs. Both of them did amazing on bridging and dimensional. As far as top layer test, I would say that the Elegoo did a little better on top layer. As you can see, some bleed through here from the supports underneath, where you don't get that here. This looks very clean. As far as the top text goes, neither one of them did very good. Why that is, I'm not sure, but anyway. Dimensional tests are very good. And again, whoops, sorry about that, guys. First layer, once we got it dialed in, first layer looks amazing. This is definitely a clean representation of the plate texture. The Flashforge and the Elegoo both have about the same texture. So yeah, anyway. Now let's get into the fun stuff, because this is all well and good, but this is just some of my toys that I played with. I colorized this guy myself. This is the Robo Dragon that I built. And this is the Mini Dragon. And this was actually backwards. This guy was printed over here. So anyway, you can see the detail, the quality is great on these things. I did the colorization myself, so that might not have been that great, but every kid loves dragons, so we have a 9-year-old. He's got a whole collection of them. This is the Robo Dragon. Be careful, you may shoot your eye out. Put your eye out with those things, but the points came out really well on both printers. The overhangs, again, I made these slightly overhung too much, and neither one of them did a great job on my overhangs. I got to redesign the backs of that guy a little bit. I just call him Robo Dragon. Got kind of that Decepticon vibe going on, I don't know. Anyway, and then this is just one I found online. Very robust, strong, heavy dragon, but prints very well. And this is all on the Flashforge. Now the Flashforge is somewhat specialty, where he does some of my boxes like this that I give away at shows and stuff. more like this, that I use as little functional boxes. These hold my magnets and some screws and stuff. So great for multicolor. And then this one is printed on the Elegoo, actually. Aye. Here we go. So this one here is printed on the Flashforge. Very true. Clean. Top layer, a little rough on the top layer, but nothing. And then the base is good. And then jumping over here, you can see the Elegoo did a little better on the PLA. This is a silk PLA. Same as this guy was silk PLA. So you can see he did a little better on my overhangs here, where I made them a little too steep. And the points on this one are not quite as pointy as this guy. So he kind of rounded off the points a little bit. Not quite as good. This guy here is just massive, big, and it's amazing. There's hardly any stringing on him. What I did have, I could just burn off with the torch real quick. And yeah, he turned out great. And then again, using the same material I used over here with this guy, single color obviously. But again, turned out great. I think this is one I actually broke and had to glue the tail together. Yeah, it is. When I was taking it off the plate, because the hinges are a little thin down there. But anyway, he turned out amazing. Kid loves them. And again, with the boxes and stuff, it does some great boxes. Little clean stuff. Again, I use these for parts when I'm doing a tear down or whatever. I put screws and bolts in them and stuff. So yeah, anyway. So that is the fun stuff. These are some of my functional prints. So let me grab. Now this is something I did on the, don't mind the glue marks, because I was experimenting with either an inset screw or gluing them together. But this is something I'm working on for holding a Keyence barcode, a sensor, and a reject sensor. So a trigger sensor to trigger the Keyence camera, and then a reject sensor to reject it if it doesn't have, or if the barcode doesn't match. So this is something a customer asked me to do. And now that I've got the big guy set up, hey, let's throw stuff around here. So now that I have the big guy set up, we will be doing them in single piece. This is very dense PETG, and I'm still playing with the print quality here. It did give me some bad first layer stuff here and a little bit of peeling. So again, I got to work on this guy. Over here, you can see I did these brackets for my lighting on the studio. They're just a quick little bracket I threw together in Tinkercad. Then of course, every 3D printer, lab, setup, studio needs to have one of these. This is the hex wall, and I'm still printing a lot of stuff for it, but it'll get together soon. And then that was all done on the Centauri. Over here we have the logos. Experimenting with the logos. This is when I was still dialing first layer, but it still looks pretty good. This is my little clock that I made. A great little design. And then this entire case here was done also on its, actually no, the tops were done in the Centauri, and then the bottoms were done, the multicolor stuff was done in the, so let's go back to the Flashforge for a base. So this is an actual functional base because I actually epoxied the inside of it, so it is actually waterproof. I don't know if you can see the epoxy in there, but this one will actually hold water, and it's pretty dense. But you can see the quality on it. Turned out amazing. This is with a silk, Elegoo silk PLA. And then the same thing over here. We've got the epoxy layer on the inside. This is also, that was done on the Flashforge, obviously. This was done on the Elegoo. And again, little different pattern, but still turned out amazing. The quality on these are great. I have no complaints yet. These are actually the exact same materials here that I used. Yeah, he turned out really good. So I'm very happy with both printers. Both of them are printing amazing, both over 200 hours. And you can see that they're doing their job. So not everything was perfect with these printers, obviously. So let's just get into a couple of the bad things that I have. So these screws right here, 3 of the 4 were loose, and the back corner, the far one, had fallen out completely. So you can see you got the bottom here, and then the top piece goes into that, and this one back here had fallen out completely and was laying in the bed of the printer. So yeah, I couldn't get first layer to lay down at all. It was never consistent, and even when I tried to calibrate it, it still wouldn't calibrate. So yeah, that's the issue, the only issue I had with the Elegoo. Now the Flashforge, it has its own set of problems here, and they are kind of ongoing. It got better with a firmware upgrade, but over here in settings, and then Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi does not stay connected very well at all, so I don't use it. I actually ran an Ethernet cable to it, and I have it connected hardwired right to the router. So that is one of the issues there. The other issue with this guy is the camera is extremely slow, and obviously we can't see that in here. Camera's here. Got the videos and stuff, but the camera's extremely slow, and the quality is nowhere near as good as the Elegoo. Another major annoyance to me on this thing is that there is no way to turn off the lights from the touchscreen. I know it does not come with lights default, but it should have a way to be able to turn off the lights on the touchscreen in an upgrade or something. They sell the lights online on their website, and you can install them and print the little magnets and brackets to put the lights in, but they don't give you a way to turn off the lights here from the touchscreen. So yeah, that's a little annoying to me. Not so major problems, I would say, with the two printers. Again, every one of these printers are going to have their own quirks and their own issues and stuff, so I can't complain too much that it's been a terrible experience with either one of them. That was extremely annoying until I found those screws. I actually found it in a forum on Reddit. Someone said to check those, and then I happened to look down at the bottom, and the screws laying in the bed. So yeah, anyway, there's the printers in a nutshell, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.